Say hi to YouTube.
Say hi to YouTube. You don't want to say? Alright. What's good, y'all? It's D-Crib back with another video, and today I'm going to be telling you guys how I made 6 figures at 19 years old. I'm currently 20 years old. My birthday is on November 7th, so I turned 20 November 7th, 2022. But basically, I'm going to be going over my entire story, where I started, how I did things, and how I made it here. So let's start from the very beginning. Just like you guys, I've always dreamt about owning a business, doing my own thing, being self-employed, being my own boss. I never wanted to work for anybody else. When I was 15 years old, I know you're thinking, how do you get a job at 15 years old? But when I was 15 years old, I got a job at Jack in the Box. And I don't come from money, I don't come from any type of help or anything like that. My brother, my mom, and I all had the same job at Jack in the Box. Think about that. And the Jack in the Box I worked at was in the same city I went to school at. So all of my friends from school would see me working at Jack in the Box with my brother and my mom. And the school I went to, I'm not saying they were rich, but in my eyes when I was younger, I was like, dang, why don't I have the stuff that they have? You know, their parents had nice cars, decent looking houses, big houses, lake houses, and stuff like that. And my family was struggling immensely the entire time I was growing up. Every single piece of clothing that I had was a hand-me-down all the way up until I got my first job at Jack in the Box at 15. Just to put things into perspective. So I come from the same place that a lot of you guys come from. So I'm not any different from you guys. Make myself this big persona or have this big ego because I know where I come from. This is why I do what I do, because I know a lot of people that come from the same situation I came from don't really believe that you can do stuff like this. You can make money online. You can start businesses online and, you know, make more money than a lot of people that you may know. When I was 15, one of the very first businesses that I started was an eBay dropshipping store. I didn't know you can make money dropshipping. I didn't even know what dropshipping was. But I did realize there was an opportunity. So, you know, with an entrepreneur mindset, Roku TVs were on the come up, you know, so I was looking at TVs. I wanted a TV so bad. I had just got a job and I bought one, right? And what I had realized is that Roku TVs were more expensive on eBay than they were on retail stores. Back in the day, a 32-inch TV, I don't know how much they're going for now, but the one I wanted was like $112 on Walmart. And then on eBay, they're going for like $130. I realized there was a margin there to make profit. I didn't know that eBay had fees. I didn't know any of that. I had created an account, connected a joint bank account that my mom made me whenever I got hired at Jack in the Box. And I bought a Roku TV with my first ever paycheck. And then I listed it on eBay and sold it for a $10 profit after fees. And I remember being so excited. I went to my dad jumping up and down like, yo, I'm making money online. Look, it was only $10. It was insane to me. But I realized the potential and I kept trying, I kept going. Ended up failing. I didn't make any money off of it. I'm pretty sure if I would have continued and pursued it, I would have been successful. You know, being 15, working a job, going to school, playing sports. There's so much going on in my life that I wasn't really, you know, focused on making $10 profits. And I also didn't know how to find other products and list them and, you know, do all that. I didn't know anything about business. I knew I wanted to create a business, but I did not know how to do it. After I had shown my parents, they didn't really show any excitement. They were kind of just like, whoa, like, that's $10, that's cool, but, you know, because they're adults. But they weren't really, you know, how would I put it? It wasn't something that they wanted me to do for the rest of my life. That's, you know, what I'm trying to say. But my dad was intrigued, and he had told his friend at work, he was an electrician at the time. He had told his friend at work what I did, and conveniently, his friend said, yo, I do that too. It's called dropshipping, except I do it on Amazon. I bought this course, and they taught me how to do it. And then, you know, now I'm making money online, dropshipping products on Amazon. And what it was Amazon FBA. This was towards the end of my freshman year in high school. My dad calls me while I'm at school. I asked my teacher to let me go out in the hallway. I answer my phone and my dad says, hey, I bought you this course for $1,000. Keep in mind, I didn't ask him to buy me this course. He just did it for me. And keep in mind, at the time we didn't have like a lot of money. That, you know, that $1,000 on a course was a lot. And so I felt like I had to take the course and, you know, pursue this. And looking back, I thank my dad so much for him believing in me, you know, even just with a small little success on eBay, you know, small, very, very, very small profit. He believed in me and he said, look, I want you to do this. And so I did. And Amazon FBA, if you don't know, you buy from retail, you post it on Amazon, you don't have to market it. Consumers will buy it from your store. You buy it from retail and send it straight to them. So it's like a triangle, you know what I mean? That's pretty much Amazon FBA in a nutshell. And within the first week, I had finished the entire course. I set up my account. I used my parents' information because I was still 15, 16 years old at that point, and I couldn't set up my own account. But I finished the course in a week, and then from there, you know, I just started listing items, finding items with profit margins and listing. The motto was list so much until you have so many orders that you can't find items to list. I was listing items for an entire month and I was seeing no progress. I felt like giving up. I wasn't going out to hang out with my friends. They kept inviting me, and I just started to lose hope. One night, I decided to stop early. I was going from 8 in the morning to 8 p.m. every single day for an entire month. I was grinding. I was working. When I say I wasn't doing anything besides working, I was working. One night, I decided to stop early because my friends had invited me to Topgolf, you know, just to go out. And I had listed 2 items that I found. I'm not just listing items all day hoping that they sell, because not every item has a profit margin. You have to look for those items, post those items, get all the pictures, product information, and then boom. I was maybe finding 5 to 10 good products a week, and I was working 12 hours a day. But my friends come and pick me up. I still remember this day. I was sitting in the back of the van. Everybody is just having fun. We're talking, being loud, you know, just being kids. And I get a notification from Amazon, and it says one of your items have sold. It didn't say what item it was, because it would only say item sold, and then it would give you a SKU grid, which is, you know, the item number. You type that SKU grid on the internet, it shows the product on every retail store, boom. That's what a SKU grid is. But I clicked on it and it was a tool set that I sold for $800 and was selling from Home Depot for $300. So I just made $400 off one sale. Lit. I was excited. I was turned up for the rest of the night. I'm pretty sure I spent my entire bank account, which was like $200 or $300 on food and stuff, just because I had made that money. So that was my first ever sale. And I only sold one of them, so I didn't continue. Boom, 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 whatever. 1 week later, it was about to be summertime. I was about to go into summer. I was looking for seasonal products. So I was listing sprinklers, water slides. There's like these little baby kid toy sets. They could play with sand and water and stuff. And one morning, I wake up and I list a sprinkler and that little toy. It's like a little set where babies can play with sand, water, and stuff like that for the summer. And I only had like 15 or 30 minutes to work or, you know, look for items because my brother had a doctor's appointment, and afterwards me and my family were gonna go eat. But I did find those 2 items, and I listed 10, you know, because the way dropshipping works, you don't have inventory. You buy the product whenever they buy it from your store, and then you ship it straight to them using their information, right? So that's Amazon FBA. But I listed those 2 items, I put 10 up, and then I went to the doctor's office, and I remember my phone just buzzing. And I didn't feel the first few at first, but, you know, after a while, they just started coming in really fast, and so it felt like someone was calling me. I pull my phone out, and I see a bunch of Amazon seller notifications. By the time we got there, before the appointment even started, I had sold out all those items. I sold 20 items, and I had made a $2,000 profit just for like 15, 30 minutes of work. I was sitting there so excited, and my parents were just like, wow, like, you're actually doing it, right? I remember asking them, can I go home? I have to, you know, fulfill these items and whatnot, and boom. So I do go home, fulfill the items, and then boom, I made my profit. But the way Amazon works is you don't get your profit right off the bat. You know, whenever they buy it, you don't just collect that money. You have to wait 2 weeks until after they receive their item, and then you receive that money. But, you know, fast forward, I ended up receiving that money, and I was able to write my first ever check. It was a $1,000 check for the course that I had bought, and I gave it to my dad. That was my first ever check ever, which is kind of cool to think about. 16 years old, made $2,000 profit in a day, and wrote my dad a $1,000 check for the course that he had bought me for believing in me. But that was my first business ever. If you're wondering what happened to that business and why I didn't continue, is because at the time I was so, you know, caught up in my head and had this big ego, and I thought the money would last forever, that I was out hanging out with friends, drinking, smoking. I know that sounds terrible at a young age, but, you know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I ended up getting lazy. I thought the money would last forever. I wasn't responding to emails, and with Amazon, they don't fuck around. You know, you have to respond to emails. You have to treat it like a real business, because it is a real business, or they'll shut it down. But that was my first ever business. That's how I ended up getting into this entrepreneur mindset. Fast forward throughout high school, it is my junior year. I'm doing good in school. I'm preparing to go to college, and COVID hits. I always knew that the whole COVID thing was a sham. You know, I didn't believe in it. I thought it was just like the flu. It wasn't like anything crazy. I thought they were blowing it over, whatnot. COVID hits and everybody's out of a job. Nobody's working, everybody's staying inside, everybody's scared. But me, I was trying to run a landscaping business, and I was also cutting hair, trying to be a barber, right? I was running a landscaping business with a partner who ended up screwing me over, so they ended up failing, and I just continued cutting hair. I was cutting hair out of my garage, right? Whether it was freezing, you know, under 32 degrees. I lived in Texas at the time. I was born and raised in Texas, lived there my whole life, but I was cutting hair whether it was freezing or if it was over 105 degrees in the summertime. You know, I did not care. I was trying to make my money, and I was just cutting hair during COVID, right? And then also at the time, so COVID hit March of 2020. In April, my brother, who was studying all the stocks and crypto and all this, which I'll get into later in the video, my brother discovered Dogecoin. Elon was tweeting all about Dogecoin, and I was just so intrigued. I was like, you know, how do I invest? And at the time I was 17, so I couldn't invest by myself. I had to give my parents money and they would invest it for me. Because of my older brother, you know, he's pretty much the main reason that my family and I are doing what we do now. You know, my dad's a real estate agent, no longer works for anybody else. He works for himself. I'm doing what I do. He's driving trucks, you know, CDL driver. We're good now. This was the turning point. My brother realizes that Elon is tweeting about Doge as a joke. And he's like, why is he always tweeting about Doge? But you know, if he's tweeting about it, there might be some significant value to it, even if it's just like a joke. And this is way before it ever became a meme, before the whole bull run and everybody was flipping out over crypto, trying to just buy. You know, we bought Dogecoin at 1/4% in April of 2020. My parents invested around 3,000 or 4,000, I think in total like 6,000. My brother like 2,000 or 3,000, and I put $200. That's what I was willing to put at the time. But I put $200, and I still remember I had 79,295 coins. This was April 2020. By December, almost 2021, I'm a senior in high school, had just turned 18. I was doing online school because the way my school did it was, you know, attendance didn't matter as long as you turned in your work, and a lot of people were doing it from home because the whole COVID scare, everybody was still worried about it. And so I was like, all right, y'all said it, not me. I'm gonna do my work. I'm never going to school. And so that's exactly what I did. But December of 2020, Dogecoin hit 1 cent. My money had quadrupled. From $200, it turned into $1,000. And I didn't know it at the time. I was just like, wow, it hit 1 cent. I wonder what it said. I wasn't really too worried about it. I was making pretty decent money cutting hair. So I was like, okay, that's cool. But, you know, for my parents and my brother, that was pretty big. That was, you know, a big flip. It quadrupled, right? January 7th, Dogecoin hit 7 cents. So from when our money quadrupled, it just multiplied by 7. Just from buying at 1/4%. This is Dogecoin, right? This is when everything started becoming a meme and everything started going crazy and the market just started pumping, hyperinflation. You guys know what happened. But yeah, our money's 7x'd from when it quadrupled. That was pretty big. So my $200 was now sitting at $7,000. I was like, what is going on? By late January, Dogecoin was just, you know, going up, just steadily going up, wouldn't stop going. And so I ended up cashing out a little bit of profits. I ended up buying some cars. I had an Audi, I had a 350Z fully modded out, BMW 330i. It was nothing crazy, but with the profits that I had made, I cashed out a little bit and bought some cars, right? I ended up crashing every single one of those cars. I don't have any of them anymore. If I still had all the cars that I had bought, I would probably have like 7 or 8 cars, but I just laugh about it now because, you know, it doesn't really matter anymore. It's just something funny now. But by March of 2021, Doge ended up hitting 30-something cents. My family had cashed out. My parents made, you know, just over $500,000. My brother made, I think, $60,000 in total, you know, just selling on the way up. And then I had made around $30,000. You know, you can do the math yourself. 79,295 coins sold at like 0.33, bought in at 1/4%. And that's where you know, everything changed. You know, we went from living paycheck to paycheck, being super broke, to now we're like, what do we do with this money? So now I'm just going throughout life. I'm hanging out with friends, taking trips, you know, just doing whatever. And by the end of the year, I ended up blowing all my money. It was gone. I crashed all my cars. Everything was gone. I was probably down to like the last, like $200, $300. I didn't have anything left, which is crazy because, you know, I was known as a guy that made it with crypto, My parents didn't blow none of their money. My brother ended up buying him and his girlfriend a car and stuff like that. He had a kid, so he was, you know, taking care of his stuff. My parents bought land. My dad started a company, started doing real estate. They just, you know, did it right. Me, I was young and dumb. I blew my money, whatever. I would much rather have, you know, lost it back then than now. This leads up into late 2021 when I discovered stock options. You know, I already knew how to read the charts. I didn't really have to study too much. I was already, you know, getting into it because of crypto, Dogecoin and all that the entire year. So I was already learning. I was already, you know, started running off. My mistake was thinking that stock options was gonna be really easy. So after I had lost all my money, I was still cutting hair. I was still doing little things on the side. I think I saved up maybe $4,000. No, it was like $6,000 that I had saved up, and I threw it all into an account. Well, not all of it. I threw $3,000 of it into an account, and I remember my second day ever trading, I made $1,400, and I was just like, whoa, like, yo, like this is the most money I've ever seen in this amount of time. It was like 30 minutes. No, it was actually like 10 minutes. I remember getting in a trade. I played spy calls or something. And then I went to the gas station. I was about to go to a buddy's house, and by the time I get to the gas station, I look at my phone and I'm up $1,400. I was just like, what? But that happens, and I'm just super excited. I end up just going back home, don't even go to my buddy's house, and I show my parents. I'm like, look, what? I just made $1,400 in 10 minutes, and that was my mistake. Is thinking that, you know, that it was gonna be like that every single time I would trade. Next day, I lose all of it, including my profits, in like 5 minutes. Bruh. Well, in my mind, I don't give up. I don't ever quit. And so the very next day, I go and deposit $3,000, the other $3,000 that I had, and then I lose it all that same day within like 10, 15 minutes because I did not know what I was doing. So now I'm down bad. Now I'm back to square one again. Lost it all. Only had $6,000 this time, so it's not as bad. Life doesn't care, time doesn't care, it's gonna keep on going. You know, you either get shit done, whether you're sad, happy, mad, whatever it is, you either get shit done or you don't. You know, time doesn't care. Get it done. Stay disciplined. You know, by December, I was pretty much broke. I didn't have anything to my name. I had a PS4 to my name. But I remember telling myself, I'm gonna make this work. I know it's possible. I put $400 in a trade and it turned into $1,400, so I know it's possible. Well, leading up into 2022, I decided that I would change myself. I stopped smoking, stopped drinking, I stopped hanging around friends, but I decided to change my habits, and I read this book. I highly recommend it to y'all. It is Becoming Supernatural. I'll put it up on the screen. This book ended up changing my life. You know, it's all about your mental game and how you perceive the real world. Leading into 2022, I remember starting the new year, I was making TikTok videos. At the time, I was making like motivational videos. It wasn't anything that I do now. But I was making TikTok videos, so I had a very small following. In the month of January, I turned $240 into $12,000, and that was my start. You know, this is when I was like, okay, I did it. Let me take advantage of this and capitalize off this. So me being the entrepreneur that I am, I knew that there were, you know, other people creating courses, teaching other people, boom, boom, boom. And so I decided that I would do the same thing. I had to gain leverage, you know, I had to find a way to stand out. And so my idea was to create a brand. You know, we created Decrypt. And no, you know, before you guys get mad at me, oh, you started the Discord, before you could even do this or that. When I started the Discord, it was completely free. I was promoting it, giving it to my friends, letting them join so that way we could all trade and get better together. You know, posting it on TikTok. This is when I started promoting it, you know, after January, around February and stuff, showing people what's possible, and then also my past accomplishments. So that's what I ended up doing. I created a Discord. I wanted to build a community and show people like me that are first generation Hispanics or Mexicans that come from immigrant parents wouldn't ever believe that you can make money online like this. And I was doing it completely free. I did not start charging people until it became way overwhelming and I was spending way too much time on the computer and my phone, just teaching people. At some point you can't just do stuff for people for free because they end up taking advantage of you and you become a slave. I didn't want to do that, so I started charging people $15 a month. And I remember getting my first sale, I think it was like February, and being so excited I felt like I was 16 years old again when I started that dropshipping store and I showed my parents. It was a start. It was nothing crazy. It was nothing big. And even now it is nothing, to the size that people have it in their head. And to this day, all the education is free. So if you want to join the Discord, click the link in the bio. If you want to learn, all the education is free. I don't charge you for that. And also my YouTube videos, my strategies are all there. So if you want to watch them, you can watch them. But yeah, I started the Discord and then I kept making content, whatnot. I kept trading. As I was trading, I just kept making more and more and more. In January, I turned $240 into $12,000. But when I did that, I will say a little bit of luck was involved because I did turn, using risk management, proper trading, I turned like $240 into like $2,000 over the span of like 2 weeks. And then the third week of January, I ended up turning like $2,500 into like, I think it was like $7,000. And then the next week, I ended up turning that $7,000 into $12,000. But yeah. So I would say a little bit of luck was involved, but once I had the money, I was like, okay, this time I cannot mess around. I cannot mess around. I'm 19 years old. I can't just keep losing money. I taught myself proper risk management, proper trading strategies. From there on, I started trading the strategy. And if you want to know what strategy I use to this day that turned me profitable, it is supply and demand. I highly recommend you guys watch it. It's going to help you out. I kept using that strategy and I found myself making over like $5,000-$6,000 a month, which is like more than most people make at certain jobs. More than most people starting salary straight out of college, So I was like, okay, fuck school. I'm not ever going back. I'm going to pursue this full time. I'm going to go. I'm just like, this is it right here. And by July, I was able to move out my parents' house into a crib here in downtown Chicago. The reason I chose Chicago is because, for one, I just wanted the lifestyle, and it was a lot cheaper than Miami and LA. So yeah, and I don't regret it. I love Chicago. It's a beautiful city. It's super clean. It's nothing like what they make it out to be on social media. By July, at 19 years old, I was able to move myself out of my parents' house. I know they were super sad. I didn't have any reason to leave. The only reason I decided to leave was so that I can focus on my trading and then also focus on the business that I was trying to grow. By July of 2022, I had amounted $30,000 in profit. And keep in mind, I thought I was making money. I thought I was balling. And then I started meeting friends with real money and realized that I wasn't making anything at all. From January to July 2022, I had amounted $30,000 in profit. And then from there, July to December 2022, I finished the year at $102,000 in gross profit with everything combined, trading and my business. And I know my birthday is November 7th. I turned 20 November 7th, but I started everything when I was 19. So from the very beginning to now, that was my journey. I hope this motivates you guys, because it is possible. You have to believe in yourself. There wasn't a single point in time that I didn't think I wouldn't make it. I didn't think that I would, what if this happened? What if that never went through my mind? What if it did happen? I can't wait till this does happen. That was my mindset. I never had any negative thoughts, and any people that were around me that were negative, I just cut them out my life. But I hope you guys can take from this. I hope it motivates you. Been Decrypt. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.